Earlier this year, you may remember watching, as I did, live news broadcasts showing flames engulf the Notre Dame Cathedral in France. Across the Western world, people were shocked and saddened. Many of Europe's cathedrals were built over decades or centuries. The master craftsmen who chiselled the stone and chose the oak that supported the vast roofs and ornate ceilings knew that they may never live to see their completion. Their work wasn't undertaken for personal gain, though. It was undertaken for the benefit of future generations, their children and their grandchildren. Our cultural inheritance, what we have received from our forefathers and what we, in turn, pass down, is not just made up of physical objects. Yes, there is the architecture, and there are the landscapes that are all carefully sculpted by human hand. And there are our artefacts, literature, and great works of art. But there is also folklore, custom, dialect, and of course, tradition. Even the way we behave, our social norms, or what we value and believe in, differs from that of any other culture. This expansive web of cultural heritage provides us with some incredible social benefits. It provides stability, a common bond, and enables our society to exist in harmony. Now, you may have noticed that Western civilization is not as cordial and integrated as it once was. This is because it is under attack and has been for some time now. The stability of our society is being targeted by internal and external forces. These are not forces in the conventional sense. They're not soldiers in uniform, for example. No, today's war involves a more surreptitious and complex strategy that targets the very structure of our society. Most importantly, you may have noticed that the birth rate of white Europeans has fallen significantly over the past few decades. And this has not happened by chance. There are several reasons why this has happened. For example, women are encouraged to pursue careers. We are all encouraged to value wage slavery over the raising of children. Furthermore, women and girls are routinely sexualized in the media, and we are encouraged only to enter short-term relationships. In a nation obsessed with the self, our relationships become easy to throw away or abandon. And even children have become turned into commodities that can either be bought or destroyed. Elsewhere in the world, particularly Africa and Asia, birth rates are very much higher. As a consequence, Africans and Asians are being encouraged to move into Europe and are helped by international organisations to do so. The demographic makeup of European nations is changing rapidly. The rate of demographic change and the lack of integration is one of the reasons why our society is becoming more polarised and more fractious. Yet we see no sign of this pattern being interrupted. For so many years, globalist mainstream media outlets have been used to propagandise in order to subdue native populations. They evangelise about multiculturalism and repeat mantras such as "diversity is our strength," which people in turn come to start repeating mindlessly without really understanding what the consequences of a global society will mean. Now, a little diversity, of course, can be good for us. What we are now beginning to recognise, though, is that a lot of diversity is counterproductive. That once happy and productive bond we shared in union is cracking. Already our society consists of a number of different groups who are all busy contending for power, as our cultural differences become a source of conflict. We see that the level of social cohesion has been dropping consistently. People are becoming less trusting of others, and we are less optimistic for our future. and what of our future? Philosophers throughout the centuries have said that life is about the pursuit of happiness. We know happiness and contentment cannot be found in riches. It cannot be sustained by two parents working long hours, or measured by the number of different nationalities or sexualities living in a particular area, or working in a business. Long-term happiness is sustained by the thoughts and the actions of the people we are surrounded by, as well as by ourselves. Westerners are not only family-orientated, but also crave interaction with like-minded people. We have an instinctual need to identify with and belong to the area where we live. But we need to be proud of who we are, and we need to stand up for ourselves and our culture. If we are going to be able to preserve our identity, our ethnicity, and save anything of benefit for our children, we need to act now. Our families have been nurturing our cultural inheritance for countless generations, and I, for one, intend to ensure that we continue to do so. Our house may be aflame, but we can still make sure that it doesn't burn down.